is all your fault.
The jokes come fast and furious.
My name is and I'm the Associate Director of the Gold Coast Art Center and the Gold Coast International Film Festival. And I'm here to introduce, thank you. I'm here to introduce someone very, very special to the festival this year, Mr. Jeffrey Gurian. Jeffrey Gurian is a comedy writer, comic, author, and producer who has written for and worked with many big names in the business, from Rodney Dangerfield and Joan Rivers to Richard Belzer, Kevin Hart, Gilbert Gottfried, the list goes on. You've seen him on Comedy Central's hit show, The Kroll Show, and he'll be featured on several upcoming episodes of The Real Housewives of New York. He's the host of Comedy Matters TV, which has over 250 interviews he's done with A-list stars like Jimmy Fallon and Chelsea Handler, Jon Stewart, Bob Saget, Amy Poehler, and as the head of live programming for the Gold Coast International Film Festival this year, he brought us Susie Essman. This coming Saturday night, we will be screening a documentary film that he co-produced called The Business of Comedy, as well as doing a book signing for his new book, Make 'Em Laugh, with an introduction by Chris Rock. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm proud to introduce Mr. Jeffrey Gurian.
Wow, Caroline Sarakoff, how about it? Keep it going for Caroline. What an exciting night. You guys are amazing. How about a hand for yourselves for coming out tonight, huh? Tonight is a very special night, but I do have to warn you, you're going to hear a lot of vulgarity, a lot of F words, a lot of impolite, scatological humor. And that's just from the Mindell family. Those Mindells are wild. You can tell just from hearing Alan. But Marlene is my girl, she's a real pistol. How about a hand for the Mindells? Fantastic hosts, fantastic hosts. Before we get to the comedy star of the evening, I'd like to start out by thanking the people that put this gala together. Regina Gill, of course, the founder and executive director. She created 20 years ago. Ronnie Berger, the gala coordinator. Gala chair, Bonnie Zarabi. Aviva Miller, who's in charge of programming and events and who worked her butt off to get this thing done. Caroline Sarakoff, the Associate Director of the Great Neck Art Center. And other Jews too numerous to mention. We got a lot of Jews here tonight, and you can tell because they're seated at tables of 10. We're packing them in by the minions. That joke kills in Tel Aviv, by the way. Not so much here, but in Tel Aviv, they can't stop laughing from that joke. Seriously, you have any idea what it takes to get this many Jews to leave their house on a Wednesday night? An evening with Susie Essman, that's what it takes. When you hear about Long Island, you always hear about the 5 towns. Great Neck is not one of the 5 towns, by the way. Originally, and a lot of people don't know this, originally there were 10 towns. But when the Jews moved in, we rented out 5 of them. Because that's what we do. Real estate. Jews are good at real estate, right, Mindells? They say this area of Long Island is so old that George Washington actually slept here. If Paul Revere were alive today, he'd ride through town yelling, "The Yiddish are coming." Seriously, you walk through this neighborhood, every door has a mezuzah on it. Not because we're so religious, because we're very accommodating. Jews want you to know where we live, just in case a pogrom breaks out in the middle of the night. We don't want you accidentally disturbing our Gentile neighbors. As a group, we tend to be very polite. And I know because I grew up in a predominantly Jewish neighborhood. And in my neighborhood, if the kids were any kind of religious symbols, they were either like a Jewish star or a chai, very non-violent kind of symbols. So when I grew up and I went outside the neighborhood, I was shocked to see kids wearing crucifixes. I'm like, holy shit, that kid's wearing a guy nailed to a cross. I didn't know it was a religion, I thought it was a warning. Like, this is what we do to you if we find you in the neighborhood. Because the truth is that Jesus was the victim of a violent crime. He was crucified. And people all over the world are wearing a reenactment of the way in which he was killed. In effect, they're wearing a crime scene. So I say it's a shame that Jesus had to be killed at all, but thank God he was killed in a way that people could wear. Because what if you've been eaten by sharks? How are you going to wear that? What if you've been crushed to death by a chariot? People would be wearing, all over the world, would be wearing little chariots, but a guy flattened out like a pancake underneath. You can't wear something like that to church, it's disrespectful. How do you even make the sign of a chariot? Does it have 2 wheels or 3 wheels? Fights would break out. What if he had one of those weird accidents where he's walking down the street and an air conditioner falls on his head? Jewelers would go crazy trying to make something like that. You kidding me? You got a guy standing here like this with a 10,000 BTU feathers coming at him. Not even Joe Gill could make something like that. Thank you. But it just goes to show you what a kind and compassionate man that Jesus was, because he knew the Romans were going to kill him, and he knew that people would be wearing the way in which he was killed. So he sat down with the Romans and they said, listen, we're going to crucify you. What do you want, a cross or a Jewish star? And he said, I don't know. What do you think looks better under a wife beater? Anyway, you turn on me so fast. We're here tonight to honor another famous Jew, Susie Essman. Susie Essman is one of the funniest, most talented performers out there today. Seriously, how about a hand for Susie Essman? Susie just got back from performing in 8 sold-out shows in London's famed Soho Theatre. She's a comedian, an actor, an author, one of the most popular stars on HBO's Curb Your Enthusiasm, and an all-around talent who single-handedly made the F word acceptable by taking a character she created named Susie Green and made her lovable enough that wherever she goes all over the world, people ask her to call them a fat fuck. But before you get to meet her, I put together a fun little video as a way of introducing Susie to all of you. So sit back and enjoy. I hope you enjoy it.
Susie Essman! Susie Essman!
Came over yesterday, you went to the bathroom and you choked it on Sammy's teddy bear as some kind of revenge masturbatory payback.
Okay, I didn't do that. I don't
bullshit, you're a fucking
what?
liar.
Yeah, I did that?
Yes,
Are you
you did.
crazy? Huh? Ejaculate. Right?
Who the fuck is this? Who's this?
That's LuAnn, Loretta's brother. What's up? Tell you one thing. I like a woman with a smart-ass mouth like that.
Yeah, well, fuck you too.
Ladies and gentlemen, Susie Essman.
Are you coming? Is she giving me, Regina giving me the award? What the fuck is going on? Are you kidding me? I want my award. Where the fuck is my award? Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. You know, thank you. I appreciate this. When I first met my husband, sucked on paper, okay? Not Jewish, But he did finish our basement. Thank you very much. Alan Mindell couldn't finish shit. That's all I'm saying. Okay, so not Jewish, lived 150 miles away, had 4 kids, and not a lot of money. So sucked on paper. But you know what? You can't fuck paper. So he lived in upstate New York, and when I would first meet the kids, they were at the time 10 to 15, now they're 20 to 25. So I had them through all those really good teen years, you know, where they're mentally ill with car keys. So when I first met them, I didn't know how to deal with these teenagers. I was like scared of them, you know, and I would go upstate on the weekend to be with them, and they were all upstate and guyish, and they would say, let's go skiing, let's play tennis. You know, I don't do these things. Let's go camping. If God wanted me to camp, she wouldn't have invented the Ritz-Carlton or one of the Mindell's hotels. So I would say, let's go shopping, because I'm really good at it. And basically what happened is I bought their love. So, you know, and my mother used to say to me, you know, you can't buy their love. No, you can. They're like Russian mail order brides. So all these things I never planned. I never planned for, you know, getting Artist of Distinction, for telling people, fuck you, Larry, get the fuck out of my house, which is, you know, my favorite line, by the way. I never planned on being a parent. You know, let me tell you something. Now that I'm a parent, I realize how lame their whole generation is. Here's what happens when you're a parent. You become, your kids just think you're an idiot. I don't care how cool you are. You know, Bruce Springsteen's kids roll their eyes at him, okay? Let me tell you what happened. A couple of years ago, Cindy, who's the youngest, was in the car with us, with me. She was in the car with me, and the radio was on, and Fergie comes on the radio, and she says, oh, Fergie, I love Fergie, turn it up, I love Fergie. And I say, just trying to make conversation, oh, Fergie, doesn't she sing with the Black-Eyed Chili Peppers? Well, this is the funniest thing she ever heard. She starts rolling her eyes, and the fact that I get eye rolled at is so appalling to me, because I used to be queen of the eye rollers. I was so good at it, you could actually hear my eyes rolling, okay? So now she's laughing at me, and I feel like I'm turning into my mother, and it's just so frightening. She gets on the phone to her sister, you're not gonna believe what Susie said, she's such an idiot. And all of us, and by the way, for those of you who are morons like me, Fergie is not the Duchess of York, that extortionist. Fergie sings with the Black-Eyed Peas. The Black-Eyed Chili Peppers are completely, so the Red Hot Chili Peppers are a different group altogether. I mixed the metaphors, so to speak. She should have been impressed I knew food was involved at all. But anyway, so she's laughing, rolling her eyes, and all of a sudden I have a flashback to 40 years earlier. I'm in the Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme with my mother. The AM radio was on. We're listening to like Murray the K or something. And all of a sudden my mother turns to me and she says, isn't that Paul McCartney on the Rolling Stones? And I think, what a fucking idiot she is. What kind of moron is my mother that she doesn't know that Paul is a Beatle? What kind of imbecile gave birth to me that she thinks Paul is on the Rolling Stones? And now here it is 40 years later, and now I'm the fucking idiot, okay? It all comes around. Let me tell you something. I'm sick of their whole lame generation. They think they're so cool, they're with their safe sex. In my day, safe sex is when you did it without handcuffs, you know? And their bike helmets, and they're all in their bike helmets and all swaddled in their knee pads and their shoulder pads. The bike helmets are the ruin of that entire generation. All right, they're so protected. If I wore a bike helmet in my block where I grew up, it would have been laughed off the block. For like 10 years, I wouldn't have been able to show my face. And their child safety caps on the medicine. When I was 5 years old, I went into my father's medicine cabinet. I took an entire bottle of phenobarbital, and I'm fine. I'm fine. And their little car seats, they're all strapped into their little car seats. Not only did we not have car seats, we didn't even have seat belts. We'd be in the back seat flailing around, hitting your head against your father, banging, you're climbing up into the well, you're making faces. There's no more faces in the back thing. It's over. It's all done. All right, I'm exhausted. I think, what are we going to do now, Jeff? We're going to do something special.
Something very special.
Very special. What is that?
Give you people a treat. And Susie has been gracious enough to offer a Q&A from the audience.
Oh yeah,
I'm sure
everybody always has curb questions.
A lot of you have questions, I'm sure, that you want to ask Susie. So we've set up 2 microphones, one on either side of the room, and you can go line up and ask Susie a
Or
question.
you could just shout out. I don't
Shout out from your table. Just scream.
Anybody? Hands?
How fat is Jeff?
My real husband?